Innovation versus Zest. Best of one, Echo LE.
No,
How about that?
I would be excited. I mean, Innovation, you're even just mentioning him earlier because he is the one holding the title as the longest streak in ShoutCraft Kings.
He's got it.
He's been just destroying the Korean ladder as well. He's been working it up, and I'm told he's in his good form. This is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, it's weird. You know, Innovation, incidentally, has played against Zest a huge amount over the last few years. I'm interested, actually, to see whether or not he's... what his overall win rate is against him. Because there's a nice little rivalry tab right here. And actually, no, he's not. No, there we go. Yeah, one of Zest's all-time biggest rivals is Innovation. It's been Maru, Trap, SOS, Rogue, and Innovation. And they've been really, really competitive with each other. I believe they have fought 11 at least minimum best of threes against each other. And I think, looking at it, I could be wrong here. Zest has a slight upper hand. By a couple of series. If I'm reading this correctly.
About that legendary status where Zest hits a form where he looks unbeatable. This is one of the other guys that there's only a few you can describe this way. In Innovation was playing at his best. I can actually say this too, and it's not entirely his fault because the meta was kind of weird at the time, but he actually made the game a little bit more boring because he was so damn good. He destroyed everyone. When Innovation won, it wasn't like a claw, bloody, scrappy battle. It was he's got 70 supply more than you, and you're dead. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. They're both great. And it's an interesting story, of course, behind Inno in this tournament, but we'll get to that in a second. Because the current King of the Hill demands your recognition. Bow down to the Protoss in the northwest position of Echo LE. In the light blue, in all his finery, it is Zest. Versus his opponent to the southeast position, in the red trunks playing Terran, who just recently lost his position as number one when it comes to overall wins in this tournament, yet still holds the longest streak, the one and only Innovation.
Well, then it's very appropriate that he makes his appearance here. It's like, hey, you just lost that title, so would you like to try to defend it?
Yeah. He can catch up. But here's the thing, we already know Nerio is waiting in the wings. Nerio is in on this tournament as well. So, if Inno wins here, he'll tie up again. And if he wins again, he'll get ahead. But Nerio still could be playing in this event. He's on the roster. They may even meet. Who knows? What an interesting situation that would be if that ended up happening, eh?
Dramatic, you could even say.
You might. Now, the weird thing about Innovation is that in the first ShoutCraft Kings event in July, he absolutely dominated. He went undefeated. He built up, I believe, a 7-win streak. And then he put another 3 on the board. Then he lost to Hurricane. And since then, he's been in every ShoutCraft event and yet has only won once. So, it's a bit weird. Like, he seems a little cursed right now. And he's tried some odd things in this tournament, too. You were there with me during BlizzCon when we saw Mass Cyclone.
Yep. And it worked at first, too. That was the funny part. They got surrounded by Lings. We're like, all right, this is over. And then they won, but then just any number of Hydras at all showed up at that current build. And it was lights out. And that was kind of the description of that ShoutCraft Kings November was just Hydras. But
Hydras are here. Both a player named Hydra and a unit called Hydra, and they're both pretty good, as it turns out.
The puns.
Oh my. Zest going right for the Dark Shrine.
I think this is not for Archon drop, TotalBiscuit. I'm going to go out
I think you might be right.
No.
I don't see anything to drop them from, for one thing. This could be a little nasty.
The big question is, can this get sniffed out by Innovation? He's going to go for a Widowmine drop. We see a decent number of Marines. No, he's not going to bring those in. So the Widowmine drop should be able to pick up on this as long as he goes into the main. And if he does, he's got to like his chances. He'll at least save energy, if not have a missile turret just ready to go. But with that, I mean, there's no pylon over here. Oh, no, that's the third there is. There is.
All right. Yeah, that was what was sort of getting me. I mean, it's still a pretty long run, even
It
if
would
you
be a very
warp in
long
from
run.
there. That's what's so weird about that. I mean, no, there is a rowboat going up, so I think maybe he is going for a drop. Now, I mean, he sees everything now. And
Yeah,
that might actually force a... That's going to force an observer out of Zest. So if he was intending to drop, can't do it now.
No, he's going to try to walk him over from that third. But he
big
just
hit.
lost a bunch of probes. I mean, that's the thing about Widowmine drops. Like, if you deflect the first 1 or 2 volleys, big deal. It's not a huge tax to the Terran player. But if they land those Widowmine shots, the Protoss is now way behind, by the way. He just simply is. I'm not even being bitter. That's just the way it works with early game econ.
Yep, it might get another shot off as well. Our observer ain't very fast. No, that's going to get shut down just in the nick of time. But even then, totally worth it. I mean, you did damage and you screwed up his plan.
Yep.
That warp prism is now a good minute late.
Yeah, he's going to keep up with this. I mean, this now fulfills a different role. It's not like if I could just get DTs in there, I'm going to win through that. It's more of a, when he moves out to continue his aggression,
yeah,
I'm going to challenge his econ. I'm going to make him make a tough choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be able to respond to a third if he goes that route too. So not a bad call from Zest, but as you said, a different plan.
Very much so. And the first time we've really seen Zest's plans be disrupted. We've noticed incredible decision-making from him throughout this tournament so far. And yeah, Innovation pulls a fast one, something that Zest did not foresee.
Now I can only hear puns. You said pull the fast one. I'm like, oh my god. Does he mean actual? Well, this DT is going to make its way into the base, but there's Mr. Turret, not only at the mineral line, but also at the production area.
There's a Viking up as well to try and deflect that warp prism. Like, Innovation is completely on top of this, and of course he would be. You know, that Widow Mine scouter. That was a interesting decision to scan there. I think he assumed that actually a DT had been dropped there, and it hadn't. Bit of a waste, but he kills the warp prism, so hey.
Yeah. There was a DT in the main. I think he actually got that one. But there's also DT outside, and this pylon lets Zest know there is no third base. And now seeing this army move out, kind of understands what the game is. The only, like, good thing about the DT that was perusing the main base was it saw no third CC. So Zest has added a lot of gateways. He's a little bit behind on the glaive upgrade, but he has no forge, nothing, anything like that. He's only chrono boosting gateways. He knows it's all about this army right here.
I actually don't like this for Zest one little bit. With that glaive upgrade and the amount spent on DTs accomplishing very little, but excellent control so far from Zest. There's a tank in the mix here for Innovation, which was certainly a surprise for Zest. He wasn't expecting that. And that army is pushed back, but Innovation has yet to seal the deal, and it's just like you said, there's no third base. Innovation wants to make this happen right here, right now.
And a nice scouting shade forward there from Zest. I love that Zest moved out to engage this army. He needs to buy time. He's got the 3 bases. He's got the bigger production. Ooh. If this goes on, his army will get too big for Innovation to take, but he's just going to push it into the bathroom. He's going
to go right for it. He's actually avoiding that completely. It looks like there's no scan available to... There he goes. To take out that DT, at least kill 3 or 4 or so Marines.
That's the only scan, though.
Oh, dear.
That's the only scan for right now.
That could be a problem, especially if this army's able to break through and take out that CC. Down goes the warp prism, though, so the ability to reinforce is gone. And there are 2 liberators in the mix here as well, smashing away at Zest's army. And most of the army can't get through. There's too much stuff in the way. In the meantime, Innovation is dealing with a bunch of DTs. The scan goes down. Widowmine in place. Does the Widowmine see the DT? It's not in range, but I don't think it's going to matter. That Nexus is going down. These Liberators are holding the line, along with the brave sacrifice of the workers here. The proletariat rise against their gilded master. They smash him down. The Protoss is falling. Innovation, it wants that title back, and he's going to get it at this rate.
Yeah, he holds off the counterattack, and that's going to be it. I mean, what good is a third base if you have no workers? GG's called out Innovation. Interesting choice. It was looking really bad and dicey, especially with losing that tank and a couple of units out in the middle of the map, but he just remained committed to making Liberators, which is not like the craziest choice. I'm not trying to paint this up as some like, wow, I can't believe he made Liberators. But the strength of the Liberator is counterattacking against an army with even just 1 or 2 Liberators. Excuse me, not an army, but a base. There's almost no defenses for Innovation except for those 1 or 2 Liberators. And that made all the difference. It's so hard to go up into that. Because if you have enough Stalkers to deal with them, then chances are a lot of your army is made up of a composition that then doesn't do well against Marine, Marauder, or Medevac. So a tough spot. Zest got caught with this with a cool idea, but just better execution from Innovation.
Excellent execution from Innovation. You know, when Inno's on, when Inno is well motivated, when Inno is at full power, he's pretty much unstoppable. And that was, I mean, the excellence of execution from Innovation there was just classic Inno in every respect of the word. And to do it against somebody like Zest, who is equally comparable in that respect, is awesome to see. That was really great. And now things get a little bit interesting. Because now, both Nerio and Innovation stand equal at 12 wins each. Well. Can Inno pull ahead? And if so, will Nerio come to stop him? It could happen. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen if you put your mind to it. You know, you just gotta dream.
Except Nesty. Can't give you that. Or MVP. No. Or any of those guys. No, they don't. Trust me, we've tried. It ain't happening. You just gotta accept it. Our next matchup is going to be very interesting, certainly. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. We're just currently waiting to confirm that we actually have him.
Alright.
Do we have Inno's opponent? I think Inno might have actually gone offline there for a second. He might have a connection problem. Let me just double check. Ah, we have a lobby invite. Excellent. Good.
Do you want to give a shout out to these players too? It was mentioned in the chat, but it is approaching 3 a.m. for them, and they woke up they've stayed up and been playing this, but you're too humble to say this, so I'll tell everyone as well. TotalBiscuit hasn't gone to sleep yet either, and it's, 11 a.m. where you're at right now, or 12?
12 midday. Yeah, I thought about getting sleep last night, but I don't know. It just ended up not happening, so you know what? Okay, coffee and stimulants. That'll be fine. I'll just sleep after it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, bad things happen if you don't sleep, I'm told.
I am told that.
Players staying up, casters staying up. It's all good.
Yeah.
Great matches. It's worth it, by the way. If not just for that ZVZ and that amazing TVZ. This whole. I mean, all the games have been good, but those, to me, I'm going to remember them for a long time. So good.
Well, there is more yet to come here on ShoutCraft Kings December. Let's not keep you waiting for our next opponent. Innovation puts one on the board. And if there's one thing that I enjoy more than watching Innovation face off against Protoss or Zerg, it would be a nice little TVT. Making his debut here on ShoutCraft Kings, it's Jacki.
A name I haven't heard since... What the hell has he been up to? I didn't even know he was still playing.
In fact, he's had a recent resurgence. A lot of these guys sort of coming out of the woodwork. It's weird. We assumed a bunch of retirements, right? Considering what's been going on. Actually, the opposite is happening right now. Like, we got players that have been kind of quiet for a while, just popping back up again. And let me tell you a little bit about what Jacki just did in the qualifier for IEM Gongi. Is it Gongi?
Don't ask me.
IEM Korea. 2-0 Alive, 2-0 Scarlet, 2-1 Patience, 2-0 Creator, 2-0 Patience, 2-0 Hush. And the only person he lost to... Innovation.
A chance for revenge, then.
A chance for revenge and redemption. This guy has been tearing it up online over the last few months. I mean, God, Lefang Cup has been running in fear. China's best player lost to him. Stork lost to him. Ryung, Alive, Keen, Reality, you name it. Jacki, for some inexplicable reason, has come out of the woodwork again and is starting to murder fools. I want to see if he can take that win back. Or does Innovation just have his number? A chance for revenge and redemption? Here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Habitation Station. It's my pleasure to introduce to you a man we haven't seen in a long time. To the northeast position in the Blue Trunks playing Terran, the one and only Jacki. Versus his opponent, the reigning King of the Hill, and now tying for the most wins and of course the leader in the longest streak in ShoutCraft Kings. In the Red Trunks playing Terran, he is the machine. Innovation.
Interesting matchup. Jacki in his prime was considered a bit of a TVT sniper. He also had fantastic TVZ. His TVP was a bit of a weak point, but that was also back when Protoss was pretty dominant. There was a lot of Protoss success in Jacki's golden era. But Innovation, also a player that kind of a lot of his success was off the back of TVT. Like he obviously was super solid in all three matchups, but I think of a lot of his big wins coming off of defeating the other top-notch Terrans in TVT. He's always so good at that matchup. This will be cool.
It will, yeah. It's very interesting to watch. Jacki, really, in StarCraft 2 anyway, more of a known veteran than Innovation. Inno didn't start with StarCraft 2, and he wasn't even called Innovation originally. He went by the name of Bogus, as most people would probably be aware. Inno really started to come into form around... It was right at the end of Wings, which was a bad time to show up, by the way, as a Terran. That's not the time you want to make your debut. He got slapped about by Zerg like every Terran ever did. But in Heart of the Swarm, he really made his name.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would think only MVP might be one of the players that kind of emerged more iconic in that era. Not necessarily HOTS, but like in the Wings HOTS era.
Yeah.
But Innovation, there's just like I can't remember how long the period of time was, but let's call it 4 or 5 months where he won something like 5 out of the 6 tournaments, and like I said, just did it in the most mega dominant fashion there was. Marines for days. That was back when everyone made just Medivacs Marines. Yeah, there was tanks, but it was mostly just Marines, and he was able to do it then. Very different now. You'll still see all those things, obviously, but just a lot more flavor. It's fun.
Well, this is something we're seeing quite a bit from Innovation whenever he runs into a TVT in this tournament. He likes his Cyclones, and more than most, too. He's been trying to make it work quite a bit in this matchup, and to limited success. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not like Terran don't build Cyclones in this matchup. It does happen. You might build a safety Cyclone early on. But Innovation goes way beyond that. He builds a lot of them. And now, of course, the Cyclone has a different role. It's going to be a bit of a weird situation because it's Cyclone versus Cloaked Banshee from Jacki, going back to the old school here.
Yeah. Hey, keep in mind, Banshees have access to that speed upgrade. So I don't know that he'll necessarily do that in a TVT, but we could end up seeing it. Oh,
hello. Oh, my God! What an opening! What an opening, and he's gonna lose that too! Oh my God! What the hell was that? Unbelievable precision from Innovation. Now hammering on the reactor, of course, trying to bunch up those SCVs so we can get another grenade on them. The Cyclone chewing through this, but now the Banshee pops out. But he kills like 5 SCVs with it as well. Maxie's other Cyclone off. That was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the big win here is not only did he obviously do enough damage to justify the cost of the units lost, but he also says, oh, you're going Cloaked Banshee. I see that. Well, it's a good thing I opened up Viking.
And a Cyclone. Cloak's not done yet. Cloak's not done yet. Can he finish him? Oh, he misses it. He's going after it now. Now we have a Cyclone vs. Cyclone war. That supply depot burns down. Don't fight Innovation, a Cyclone v Cyclone war. He's been using them way longer than you have, trust me. He's building a Raven now and a Starport. I am floored by the precision of that initial attack. Like, using the grenade with that target fire was amazing.
Yeah, it was quite well. I actually think he canceled Cloak. I hope he did, because he only has the one Banshee, and it seems that
he hasn't. Cloak is there.
Oh, jeez.
So that's a mistake. As you said, like, that's been scouted now, and that's a lot of gas.
Well, it's been scouted, but also he himself is bailing out of it. He now has a cloaked banshee. Like, this is
one. Yeah.
not at all what he was hoping for, but you can see why. I mean, there is a Raven out. He knows. I guess he can infer that. There's Vikings out, so that's why I was asking, because I would have, ideally, and he agrees, he would have canceled it. But ending the natural earlier is innovation, so that's also the kind of additional cost of what happened there. And both players are at about the same tech choice. If you look at that production tab, it's Marine, Tank, Viking. Obviously, just innovation just ahead in the regard that he won the fight and edged out the advantage there and didn't have his Cloaked Banshee's strategy canceled out before I ever did anything.
Didn't lose a bunch of workers. Economically, innovation clearly ahead. That's going to allow him to power forward. I mean, in a mirror matchup, that's super important. And Jacki hasn't been able to deploy his natural yet.
Yeah.
That's actually huge. Like, Inno's natural is almost saturated, and he's muling the hell out of it.
Yep. Yeah, let's see. Take a look at workers here. 42 to 31. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
He lost like 5 or 6, but he's just been slowed down since then because he then had to make up units. And here's a nice way to edge this out, too. Innovation's just dominating the air battle. So, yeah, there's going to be a PDD that's going to, like, zone out these Vikings for a little while. But if he just moves past the range of that PDD... Oh, never mind. He's just going for blood. He's just going to try to win it.
Yeah, he's probably got the numbers for it. Oh, no, here come the turrets, and that draws in the fire of the siege tanks. And here's the thing. Vikings actually are good against things now. 20 damage versus mechanical. They shred everything on the ground.
Now here come the auto turrets.
Oh, no.
It's just not enough.
Holy Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry, Jacki. That was traumatic.
We've had a couple of those. That was definitely one for the books. We're like, Jacki, where you been? He's like, I've been doing great. It's like, all right, go back to there because that's not here. I mean, innovation. That initial attack, like you said, the precision and just the execution of it was very, very good. But he made a very good player in Jacki look very bad.
That was... I mean, that was advanced mech. That was mech by somebody that spent an awful lot of time figuring out what does work by hammering on what didn't. Like, we've seen him try this cyclone nonsense over and over again, and sometimes it's kind of worked a bit. It's never really been hugely effective, but that... God, there's just so many little moving parts in that, and, like, the plan, the first attack was so precise. That was amazing. Straight up amazing.
Well done. It's good to see innovation kicking so much ass. So it's going to be a fun year ahead when we get to see him compete in some of these events.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll always be a fan of innovation. I don't have in my mind all that many bad matches from innovation. No. It's like there's always something. There's always something cool that's going to be on display. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. So I've got to give him full credit for that. Well, let's take a little break, shall we? Because we have ourselves an interesting situation. Innovation now leads once again in terms of the number of wins in ShoutCraft Kings at 13. He pulls ahead of Nerio. Interesting times abound. You're watching ShoutCraft Kings, ladies and gentlemen. Would like to let you know about a cool event that's coming up. One of our old sponsors, actually. Do you remember Ting? They sponsored a little tournament called ShoutCraft America Winter quite some time ago. Won by your teammate, your ex-teammate, if I recall correctly, Huck. He won that one.
Absolutely.
It's very cool. Because I think he did. Yeah, pretty sure he did. And they're now sponsoring the Ting Open on Base Trade. These guys are going to tell you a little bit about it, and then we're going to be right back. We're going to find out what's in store for innovation. You're watching ShoutCraft Kings December. Sponsored by Blizzard, myself and iNcontroL Casting. Don't go anywhere. Things are about to get rather intriguing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ShoutCraft Kings. Well. Innovation is back on the board. He's finally put a streak together.
Yeah, you just talked about how he's just never been able to do it again, and here he is, dominant form.
I think you know what I'm going to have to do now, don't you?
I expected it earlier, to be honest. I'm glad.
This is pretty predictable. Let's be honest. But it's just giving the people what they want. Innovation has a minor lead. He is currently top of the leaderboard. And someone would really like to change that. The only one that can. Nerio. Let's get right into the game. No delays.
Wouldn't be ShoutCraft Kings without him.
It would not. It wouldn't be ShoutCraft Kings without either of these guys. Like, they're both staples. No doubt about it. So here's the current situation as we introduce our players. The northeast position in the red trunks playing Zerg. He is at 12 wins. Second place in ShoutCraft Kings. From Team Euronics Gaming, it's Nerio. Versus his opponent to the southwest position in the reigning King of the Hill. With 13 wins on the board. In the blue trunks playing Terran, Innovation.
And when you say ShoutCraft Kings, I honestly, that the plurality of Kings there, this is what I think of. Innovation, the current longest streak holder, also the most wins, just recently crowned that title.
Yep.
Looking good, and he's taking on Nerio, who hopefully is up for the task. We've definitely been, capable. I mean, it's just, this is how these tournaments go with best of one. We're like, this guy's so amazing, then they get swatted, so hopefully that's not what happens with Nerio, but Nerio is certainly capable of going toe-to-toe with Innovation. He has over the years.
Yeah, no doubt. This is why this is a cool match, regardless of when it happens. I mean, Nerio in Kings, he's got the second longest streak at 8. Tied with a couple of other players, but regardless, second longest streak at 8. Second most wins. But one of his most impressive statistics is what he did during that streak. He beat 6 top Koreans in a row. Yeah. Like, we're talking Maru, Bunny, Myungsik, Rogue, those kind of people. As in, no slouches, all. He beat all of them back to back. He was most of the reason why we had the biggest South Korean shutout in Kings, which I think lasted about 13 maps. He's one of the main reasons, and I think Mana was the other, if I recall correctly. It's pretty crazy. He's so good. So very good. This has really been his year. Even though he's only won one premier tournament, his results speak for themselves. And really, even if you look at his BlizzCon results and you think that's kind of disappointing, I don't think that's representative of his skill level at all.
No. No, I mean, a lot of these tournaments, especially like a BlizzCon, stuff like that, it's... A lot of people get hyped up on where you place in there, but it's also who you played against. And Nerio lost to his fellow countryman, a Laser, in the decider match, and that's a match that he's typically won more of.
Yep.
But obviously, as we saw, a Laser's good enough to beat Nerio or anybody else.
Absolutely. Well. Nice little opener there from Nerio. Is able to kill the SCV working on the command center. Interesting decision by Inno to go low ground on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think he assumed that with the Reaper out, there was no way anything was going to sneak by? Or did he just make a miscalculation there?
I think it's the Reaper one. I think it's a fairly reasonable call, but this game got weird already. We got 3 Ravagers, maybe a 4th here, and the harassment is going to continue. I actually like the timing of this. The typical follow-ups is maybe, excuse me, like a Cyclone or 2.
Yeah.
Some Marines. Or it's the 16 Marine timing attack that we've seen a bunch of as well. Well, these Ravagers are going to show up where all of that's in limited number, so they're going to get some damage done.
This is a really old build from the Legacy of the Void beta. Zerg, for a while, were just dominating Terran with this. Terran didn't really have an answer. And unfortunately for Innovation, considering what he was doing there with his add-ons, unable to necessarily produce enough units, this is a little tough. Nice little morph in the middle there to try and keep that alive. He's had to bring workers off the line to force these back. The Reaper comes in, though, and that turns out to be quite the useful little unit against that Ravager. As good control, I think, as you can expect from Innovation, but, oh no. Look at... He takes the Ravager down. The second one falls, too. So, how do we assess how that went? I'm pretty sure Inno got away with that, right?
Oh, wow. I don't know if that happened to you, but the Overlord glitched out for me. It just disappeared. It is dead, but no, I thought it was actually pretty okay from Nerio. There's a couple minor micro mistakes. He could have gotten maybe a Ravager out of there or done a little bit more damage. But otherwise, I mean, just look at kind of the situation we're in. Medevacs are about to pop out, but that attack's been delayed quite a bit. Speed will not be finished by the time the medevacs show up, but it'll be close to it. And he'll have access, to some roaches if he needs to, while going up to 3 bases. So kind of all the benchmarks have been delayed a little bit. Speed on the Lings is a little bit delayed, but otherwise we're getting to the point where we want. And I think why I like this from Nerio is it throws innovation off the script just a little bit. And I do think innovation's the kind of player where that's not going to affect him so much, but it's good to do that to a player to see if they do misreact, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was something of an investment, but it evidently hasn't affected Nerio all that much. That said, Nerio is very low on the military side of things. He has built an awful lot of drones and not an awful lot of anything else. One queen falls already as innovation decides, hello, I think I've got an opportunity here. A second queen falls. Nerio's having to pull his workers. There's a couple of Lings in there as well. There are enough queens maybe to drive this back, but that was a very successful bit of harassment there.
Absolutely. Gets 2 queens. One is on the edge of its life.
Bargain price.
No creep tumors to kill for the most part. I think actually, if I remember correctly, it did delay a couple there, but the creep spread by Nerio actually not super great. So I'm actually starting to come around to what you were kind of hinting at, which is maybe this was really good for innovation. Like the benchmark, well, as I say, this counterattack's really nice.
Oh, he didn't cancel it. He didn't cancel the CC.
Ouch.
That's a big loss. Wow. Okay, well, as we were saying, things sort of flipping and flopping around a little bit here. A comedy of errors between these two at the moment. Nice cleanup there by Inno. In the meantime, again, Inno pushes in, but this time a few more Lings ready for it with the Queen support. They all somehow live. Inno not quite out. There we go. Target fires down the weak ones. A couple of Lings come to surround, but job has been done. Decent damage as long as he can get out of there with those medevacs.
Yep. He does lose 1 medevac, which is not ideal, but I think having that third quote-unquote cancel, but as you pointed out, actually just outright killed is a big deal. It's just now remaking it. And again, talking about those benchmarks, this is supposed to be a 3rd and 4th medevac showing up right now, but it's just the 3rd. This force is okay, but not super scary. So it's been a slugfest back and forth. Like, I don't think Nerio's miles ahead or anything. In fact, I would say he was even behind just a little while ago, but both players, as you said, comedy of errors has kind of equated to a close match here.
Absolutely, and it's usually a big brawl between these two whenever they meet, and oh, ouch! That was nice target fire there by Nerio, and arguably a slip by Inno, because he could have lifted with that one. It's a little tricky to do, to be that precise, rather than just bandboxing, but there was a tough medevac there with full HP that could have been used, and that was a little bit of a loss there once again.
Getting the 2 medevacs now, it's starting to really be felt. Innovation's presence on the map just does not seem super relevant. There's some Marines and a tank moving out to the 3rd to make sure there's no Ling or Overlord there. But if you go to the tower outside that 3rd or 4th base...
Ooh, have you got a...
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure. I was like,
looks like we're losing a caster. Yeah, I think that's base trade, possibly. Not base trade, sorry. Take TV.
Okay.
Obviously that
well, I mean, if you look at the tower, the 2 medevacs with what's left from the harass, you don't really get the sense that innovation can be out there harassing right now. So he is the one. We've been kind of talking about this in our TBDs. He's getting slowed down, and Nerio's going to take that time to take his 4th. He's already fully saturated on the 3 bases, and he's starting to add some sack defenses just to make sure that the continuous drops don't actually slow him down much more. I like Nerio's positioning pretty good. It is looking good,
and the rivalry continues between these two. Nerio would just love to equalize up again. Not only that, but he'll get a great opportunity to potentially then pull ahead, as he would knock innovation out of the tournament entirely, assuming that he could beat the next. But here's the thing about innovation. Of almost all the Terrans I've ever seen, maybe outside of Boxer in his prime and maybe Marine King, innovation is the comeback king. Innovation is a guy who will not die and has pulled wins out of seemingly hopeless situations. And he's certainly not in a hopeless situation right now.
No.
A little bit behind, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's just a little bit behind. I think anytime a Terran can't be harassing, and the Zerg knows that, you're in an uphill battle. But as you said, innovation is raw mechanics and speed, and just as the game goes on, it's hard to keep up with them.
And comes the flank right here. Nerio with a huge amount of Lings, and is able to jump right on top of those siege tanks. A crushing move, but that siege tank at the back gets a good shot off, is able to do yet more damage, but Ino's army did get demolished there.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, no, that tank's strapped. He needs to get that way. He can evacuate it. Oh, he waits the last minute to do it. Precision move.
Yeah. I was going to say, he can still pick up tanks, just not when they're in siege mode.
No.
He's going to push forward here, and he has taken that third behind it, but keep your eye on that. Nerio is one of the most notorious Ling counterattack players there are.
No doubt. And quick pick up and go from Innovation. He did get the tank. Obviously, you can no longer, as you mentioned, pick up sieged tanks. So you'll now see Terran players less willing to siege their tanks up unless they're absolutely sure of their position. Too much of a risk.
And there's that first poke at the third base, and that's kind of in its own right, the Zerg's way of being like, hey, you got to dedicate something over here. If you don't, you are at risk of having 1/3 of your economy shut down at a time. Innovation is going to play it a little bit risky. There is actually nothing there, just now getting the wall in, but no like bunker behind it or Marines or anything like that. He's just trying to slow him down.
I think considering economically he's a bit behind, he may have to cut a corner or two, but this is going to break.
Oh.
I mean, it's not even a full wall.
No,
unfortunately, the Lings
bucket.
leak right through. That's going to force Innovation's army way back, and damage is going to be done. I don't care how good your SCV micro is. He's going to lose some units, and he does. The Mule's getting targeted down here by Nerio. Nice move. 5 SCVs killed, and oh god, Lings get into the main as well. So that's a pain in the ass to clean up. And again, it just delays things. And note what Nerchio's been doing behind it. Going up to Hive, getting his 5th up.
Yeah. And it puts Innovation in a weird spot where all of a sudden more mistakes end up happening. He's pushing out here. The medevac count is being felt. There's only 3 for all these Marines.
Oh, that Liberator managed to stay alive. That's good. That's going to provide it. Oh my god. That hurt.
Huge chunk of Marines just die. I like what Nerchio's doing right now, though. He's trying to open up a counterattack angle.
Looking for
He's going to go to the natural.
Yep, he's going to try and go straight through. There are some Marines in position. That tank was not sieged up, and Inno continues to push forward. The Liberator has been taken down. He is able to bring in a second Liberator and the third behind that, but what kind of economic damage is he going to take from this massive Ling run by? Reinforcements come in, and he tries to get the SCVs in a decent defensive position, but it's messy. It's messy on both sides. Tanks at the front, Queens going down, Banelings try to get up the ramp and fail. The cleanup has happened, 15 workers killed. The offense continues to happen here.
Yeah.
Nurturus just rams right through it, invests quite a lot to do it, Liberator down as well. But here's the weird thing. Regardless of how everything Innovation lost, he's now got a much bigger army than the Zerg player.
Which is just weirding me out. These Liberators are just doing so much damage, I guess, zoning out the Queens. They're going to try to skirt around to this left side and get at that one Liberator, which now pulls back. But Lings are okay, but a couple of bad fights, and you just lose the heart of your army.
Yeah, if you don't have that big mass where you can pull on this around, if they're coming in dribs and drabs, it doesn't matter. And I said it before, I'll say it again. You think Innovation might be losing, and then this happens. Inno holds with a tiny number of units, but the Zerg just can't quite get enough together to stop him. And right now, this 4th base is looking under dire threat of death.
I can't believe we got here. Like, it wasn't like a slow turnaround. It was like one bad fight, handles the counterattack, and he's winning. It just happened so quick.
This is what he does. God, almost dead medevacs, barely any energy. The Marines somehow stand tall. I think this will finally be stopped, but Innovation's parading across the map. He's adding more Marines in the mix. I think there's enough Queens to break this, though. Great transfuse there by Nerio. That'll be it.
Liberator's up to 25 kills, by the way. It's an actual commander. Does die.
It got like 3 Queens before it did that, though. God knows how many Zerglings. We now need to take stock of the situation, because that was an absolutely brutal slugfest on all sides. Lots of units lost, slightly more resources lost for Nerio, about 2,000 more right now. 4th base as a planetary is established for Innovation.
Man, what a game. It was weird because Innovation did not get counterattacked. There must have been some kind of like nexus of moment in time where his main and natural just thinned out enough that it kind of cut into his ability to continue the war effort. Because his army right now is quite small if you look at it. It's going to get bigger here in a second, but in that little kind of gap of time, we've seen Nerio add the Ultralisk Cavern. And let me confirm this. I thought I saw it
It was in the most awkward place. His Ultra's Cavern. Yeah, it's outside his third.
Okay. Yeah, that's
By
a
itself.
bit of a weird place to put it. Vulnerable to drop, although Innovation hasn't been doing an awful lot of that lately. So maybe he just thinks it's safe. The problem Inno has right now is, you know, if you look at the supply count, it's like, yeah, they're even. Sure. But what exactly does Innovation have against the upcoming Ultras? There's going to be 4 of them. They're going to have chitinous plating. Does he have +3 carapace? He doesn't. He actually skipped that. But still, chitinous plating Ultras are pretty hard to take down. The Liberator count basically got reset. So he can't rely on those. He is producing only 1 Marauder at a time. So I'm a bit concerned for him.
Yep. Yeah, he was right on the verge of winning, and I actually thought Nerio was broken. I did not see him holding there.
Those queens, man.
So much kills. The queens were able to just kind of... They were remade, by the way, after all these hatcheries, because he was down to 3, and then all of a sudden it was 8. Like, just all of a sudden.
Big deal. Yeah. I think those queens aren't going to really get much done now, though. Like, they're about to be up against +3 infantry armor with +0 range. Yeah. So they're going to tickle. They're not going to get anything really done, with the exception of maybe hitting medevacs. Innovation now decides to drop. I mean, if you look at... Oh, we're now seeing 4 Liberators at a time. I think, you know, was finally tweaked on to the idea that there's going to be Ultras, and they're going to hurt. He's going to need something right now.
You need some. There's those queens doing that tickling you talked about. The medevac's actually quite low in health. But even just to those, like, 3 or 4 Marines, he lost a queen. Now, of course, he could have transfused, but...
Uh-oh.
That was loose in positioning, so a couple of creep tumors do die in the middle of the map as well.
3-3, about to kick in. +3 Zerg melee not done. Ground Carapace is a couple of minutes away. Innovation maybe has an opportunity here. If you look at the army supply size, if he can get his Liberators and tanks together, he might be able to thrust through the middle, maybe take the 4th here.
Another Liberator being annoying up in the main base. Mostly mined out, so the kill count here is kind of large.
Oh, here it is. Oh, God. You don't want to be in that. That is a mess. I mean, that's Liberators backed up by tanks that are pretty much untouchable. That is a very, very hard thing to break. I don't care how good your Ultras are, especially since they don't have +3 armor yet. These Liberators doing a decent job. However, the Corruptors coming in and targeting fire. The target fire goes down on some of the Liberators. They're transfused out. These Marines doing a hell of a job, but they're having to fight against Ultras on creep and Banelings as well. Can Inno hold this line? Can it be done? Does he have the units? It looks like he does.
And he gets through there. The Corruptors do kill the Liberators, so that's going to be one of the big threats here. But being able to kite backwards...
Oh, he got the Ultra.
And just having overwhelming force means he's won this positioning. And this is all about Daybreak. If you think back to when it was kind of a big map in the pool, it was all about sieging the middle half of the map and how hard it is to get through there. Well, Innovation's over that hump, and now he's into the soft underbelly.
Yep, he just broke it. And you've got a bunch of Corruptors now that don't really have an awful lot to shoot at other than those medevacs. The Ultra count is gone. Cold Baneling's moving in. However, Inno eats most of it on the Marauders. So he's not doing too badly there. He still has 3 Liberators. He's got a tank. I mean, this is a very, very small army, but there's still a lot of firepower in it. And honestly, Nerchio's out of fighting units.
Yeah.
He's got Corruptors. And that's it. He's building 2 more Ultras, but that's it. GG. Inno holds.
And I think that's a pretty definitive way to be like, okay, I am your ShoutCraft Kings badass. Like, you may have...
that was a game.
He surpassed him in overall wins and then beats him on his way to increasing that lead to 2 games now, I believe. So, pretty definitive. Very nicely done.
That was also that was just a phenomenal back and forth. Like, a bit of a comedy of errors, but honestly, a lot of the best games are like that. It's not like pro gamers are perfect. You will see a mistake that leads to maybe another mistake that leads to an interesting situation. That's cool to watch. Innovation solidifies his lead. The rivalry with Nerio continues, but Innovation is the winner today. He's now on 3-map streak.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you said, too, because I think it's actually an interesting comment. Like, I don't think this was the best game by either of these guys, but they both just had a bloody, amazing match, and they're both just trying to win at pretty much all stages of this game that made for a really cool game. A lot of times when you have 2 really good players, the first one to make a big mistake is the one that just loses, and that's it. But Innovation was feeling the pressure, and so was Nerio. So nice back and forth. Good game.
Very, very cool. Enjoyed that a lot. I mean, when is it not enjoyable to watch Nerio and Innovation go at it? It's always, always cool. I mean, that game had it all, you know? That early Ravager push, the crazy defense, the uncancelled command center, like disastrous mistakes from both sides, into a macro game. Inno's behind. He just doggedly refuses to die. God, that was quite the game. That was what TVZ is all about.
It's why it's the marquee matchup. Everybody else just, I mean, there are other great StarCraft matchups, but when you think of the big iconic ones, it's TVZ.
It really is. No doubt about that. Absolutely excellent matchup. And, of course, that means that he remains King of the Hill. This is the first time in 5 months he's been able to put together a win streak. So, this is very interesting to me. I wonder how far he can go. Are we going to see it again? Are we going to see the unstoppable innovation once more? I mean, I'm looking at the list of players he's got to go up against, and I do have a few doubts. Gotta be honest.
How many players do you have, John?
How many players do I have left? You want to know how many players I got left? I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 players left to throw at him. And they're all really good.
Alright. It's a lot of StarCraft.
It's a lot of StarCraft. A lot of great StarCraft, too.
Agreed.
It's been fantastic so far. Alright. Cool. Our next opponent has arrived. Zerg, obviously, not doing the trick against Innovation. And you know, here's the thing. After watching what Innovation did in that TVT with Jacki, I'm really tempted to watch another TVT with Innovation in it. What do you reckon?
I actually have always liked the TVT matchup. I mean, Innovation obviously is a superstar, so that makes it more exciting, but I just think the matchup's pretty cool.
I think it's an awesome matchup. Really, really great mirror. Even for people that don't like mirrors, it's like, yeah, this generates some really great stuff. Just on a consistent basis as well.
Yeah.
You occasionally see amazing ZVZ, but you almost always see amazing TVT. It's a nice match to watch. I've got someone for him to fight. I've got someone who's pretty damn good at this matchup. Let's see what we've got. Well, we've thrown one European at him. Didn't really get very far. But there is another country, of course, that has a pretty storied history of StarCraft.
America!
France!
Oh.
America. MarineLord, ladies and gentlemen, from Team Millennium, will face off in a TVT against Innovation.
I like it. MarineLord, you know, one of the more highs and lows, I would say, in StarCraft. When
Very true.
He's playing really well. He's definitely considered one of the best, if not the best, foreign Terran. And then there's been some lows. So we'll see. Today, can he beat Innovation? Can he give him a good match? That would be a high, I would say.
He would. He is currently the #1 French player. He's ranked above Petit Drogo, DNS, Stefano Deschi. All those awesome players.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see. Now let's have a look and see how many times he's fought Innovation. I imagine it's got to have happened sometime. Let's see. What do we got here? Not very often at all. The last time they fought in a competitive matchup was in January in Nation Wars. And MarineLord actually won.
Oh, well, I remember that. He actually won like 3 or 4-0. He aced him.
Yeah, he killed Innovation twice. That's the only time they've ever met.
And you know what the big funny thing was at that time? They're like, yeah, but the Koreans were up at like 3 or 4 a.m. for that match. We've done it again!
We've set him up. It's rigged, I tell you, rigged.
It's late in Europe, though, to be fair. Like, let's put this out there, guys. Right now in France, it's 6 p.m. And for a lot of people, that's a good 2 hours past their bedtime. It's pretty late.
He needs le nap.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is le tired. I doubt he is. I also doubt Innovation's tired, because machines don't get tired. Anyway.
He had a pretty important update to his EXE about a month and a half ago. They just removed tiredness altogether. It's been great ever since.
Patch it out. No reason for that. It was a bug, not a feature.
Yeah, why would you do it?
Just going to double check that we have everybody here for this one. It should be a good one. As I said, this is one of the only players in the world to have a 100% win ratio against Innovation, for what that means. It's true. It's 2 maps, but...
I mean, I guess, yeah.
It's technically true, and that's the best kind of true. They're ready.
Yeah.
We're ready. Let's rock and roll. Innovation. He's on a 3-map streak. Can he extend it more? Can he take revenge for a double loss at the hands of the Frenchman in the O Gaming Nation Wars at the start of this year? That would be an interesting way to bookend it, wouldn't it?
Not bad, not bad.
And it should be a good TBT regardless. These guys always put on a good show, one way or the other.
Yeah, his innovations TBT, like what he did to Jacki is show me on the doll where he touched you in the bad place kind of moment.
That should have been considered a war crime.
And I think these guys are watching. I'm sure MarineLord didn't just come in here like, all right, I'll play. I'm sure he's been watching, saw that it was more of a mech style, knows that he wants to go Cyclone. Would be kind of cool to see what he does in response to that.
Oh man, we have a cross-map TBT on Whirlwind. The last one of those I saw went an hour. It's a little bit of a different game now, but this could last a while. We'll see. To the northwest position, our current king of the hill. He has the longest streak. He has the most wins. He is back in form. Can anybody stop him? In the blue trunks playing Terran, Innovation. Versus his opponent. 5,000 miles away across the other side of Whirlwind. Why the hell did you bring this map back? That's its official name, by the way. The southeast position, I assume, in the red trunks, playing Terran for La France. Millennium MarineLord.
Vive la France! Well, it's interesting. There was a period of time there where France was like pretty dominantly the #1 country in Europe. Petit Drogo was in form. You had Lilbo competing very well. MarineLord, Daichi, like just a list of players. And I mean, it goes a lot longer than that. It was really impressive. And then kind of all at the same time, I don't want to say they fell off. That's a little bit too aggressive a way of describing it, but certainly like it's France is still way up there, but I think you'd probably give the edge to even Poland with
yeah.
Mana, Laser, Nerchio as the 3-prong big threat there. But they have others. But they're just not. Daichi's a little bit more on the back burner. MarineLord, I think, actually even pseudo retired for a small period of time. Lilbo's moved on to Overwatch. It's just not quite the same, but still, their highs are still pretty high.
Yeah, no doubt. MarineLord's in a weird position. Like, we don't see him in a lot of big events, but he still plays a lot of online cups and generally destroys people in them. And that puts his rating slightly higher than Petit Drogo. You might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, didn't Petit Drogo make it to BlizzCon and MarineLord didn't? Yeah, but these ratings generally account for bulk of competitive matches, and MarineLord's actually played a hell of a lot of them. He played in Wardy's Team League Season 7, the Underdogs Top Dog International, Home Story Cup. He's played in quite a lot lately. So, he's won more than he's lost, and that puts his rating up pretty high. Petit Drogo probably considered the best French player right now simply because of his BlizzCon performance.
Yeah, I mean, StarCraft's very results-driven, so you just say who's done the most right now, and Petit Drogo even making it out of his group in the round of 16 at BlizzCon.
Hell of a group as well. God.
He's just a good player. He's a good player, and he did it all dressed as a mime, which is making him a legend in my book.
Yeah, and that makes everything at least 10% more difficult. That's a Raven.
I like it. You're gonna see more Ravens these days. Obviously, detecting Banshee is a big deal, but just the ability to harass with a Raven, it does so much absolute damage. I mean, unless you have your army right there, it's gonna kill stuff.
Here we go again. This is Innovation's opening, the same one he used against Jacki. And it's working pretty damn well. As it turns out, Hellions are really bad against Cyclones.
Yeah. Hellions are kind of bad against everything except for Zerglings and SCVs, it feels like.
Yeah, that's fairly true. And they're doing a reasonable job against us Reapers, but Innovation's not letting them die. And, grenade goes off right there. The Cyclone's getting a little bit low now. Needs to maybe get it out of there. I think he blocked it. He may have blocked his own Cyclone there, although the Hellions would have chased it down anyway because the Cyclones are really slow now. So that was held. You mentioned earlier that it's very likely that MarineLord watched the previous TBT. I think that's kind of... I mean, one that's maybe proven just by his reaction there, but, you know, we don't see a Cloaked Banshee. Instead, we just see a bunch of Hellions and a Viking and a Raven instead. Some damage was done by that. Not a lot.
No, not the SCV damage that he was able to do against Jacki, which is where you really get the reward from that. I mean, at the end of the day, he loses 2 Reapers and a single Cyclone, so it's not like he's mega cringing there and feeling like he's way behind, but we've seen what it can do, and that was not it. It's interesting for MarineLord here, too, by the way. We've this is a composition which has made its rounds in TVT, but a long time ago. I haven't seen it in a long time.
It's strange. I suppose when you put out a bunch of changes to the game and then throw a bunch of old maps at it, then as people are trying to figure it out, they'll go back to the old standards and see what works. It's a brave new world. What, brave old? Pretty damn old world.
It's a brave old new world.
Yeah, something along those lines. 2016 is weird. Can we just get it over with?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
we will. Soon enough. We just have to get Rogue One out of the way. Then we can move on to the next year.
Man, if that's bad, jeez, then we're doomed.
If that's bad, then we can just...
That's it. Just give up. We failed as a human race, as a species. MarineLord with a large number of Hellions is going to find tanks. Not what he wanted to see. And he's going to be driven back. I wonder how good
I'm a little
Vikings
weirded out.
are.
Like, if you go Hellions like that, you're looking to be mobile and aggressive. And it feels like he's just like, oh, you went tanks. Well,
Yeah.
that's...
You know what, as well, is interesting? He also went Viking. Vikings are now really good against Hellions. Because Hellions are mechanical, and Vikings now have a lot of extra damage against mechanical. So that's kind of weird.
It's weird, but it also feels so right. When a guy shoots you with a Gatling gun, it's supposed to look like this.
Look at it, look at it. And bear in mind, SCVs are also mechanical. 18 workers killed in about 5 seconds thanks to a Viking drop. That happened. That's a real thing. Innovation's army is pushed back, but oh my god, the economic damage was devastating.
Yeah, he's fine with this. This is that economic damage we were talking about. Look at that natural mineral line to just know how bad MarineLord is feeling right now.
That was devastating. I mean, you thought, oh, he held it. Did he? At what cost? The cost of a hell of a lot of workers. And in a mirror match, we've said it before, it's extremely obvious. That's devastating. MarineLord is working on Blue Flame. He's got no drop capability. Like, he's going to have to rely on run-bys, unfortunately, against siege tanks, which is a bit of a problem.
It's just... He just keeps massing this Hellion Viking composition, and it's like... If he was the aggressor, this is cool, but Innovation has been able to just kind of usurp that role, stunt him, and then be like, yeah, go ahead and come at me with a timing attack that was meant to be relevant 3 minutes ago, but now it's just, like you said, you're hitting tanks. He can land the Vikings. He's going to at least trade here, and with the economic advantage, a trade is not what MarineLord wants.
He's going for it. Let's just see how good these Vikings are against tanks, assuming they don't die already. Well, unfortunately, landed them in the wrong place. Well, we didn't really get to see much of that, but there are other landed Vikings for Innovation. Inno's got his own landed Vikings, plus a tank, and that was a devastating loss. What a shutdown. We got a Viking landed flank on both sides, and MarineLord taps the hell out.
Well, I don't blame him. He lost his army and his economy. There's not much more after that, but I have to say, Vikings look really funny, because, again,
they do.
I think all of our mind is like when they land, it's this hilarious, like, inept damage. Now, everything just effing explodes at the same time, including the Vikings, because they don't take much punishment, but, like, they land, SCVs are gone, Vikings are gone, Hellions are gone, everything dies. But no. Thank you.
I mean, Innovation living up to his name, really. And all of this weird stuff he's been doing over the past couple of months seems to have, like, finally come to fruition. He went a bit mad scientist on us for a while, and it wasn't really working. And this patch has given him toys which seem to work very well within his compositions. Like, he's using landed Viking harass to dominate tanks, Hellions, and SCVs. He's using Ravens to great effect. He's using Cyclones and Reapers to great effect. It's actually beautiful. It's gorgeous to watch.
I don't want to bust out the tinfoil hat too early here, but do you think it's because they're all robot units and mechanical units that there's some kind of understanding that's being had here?
it would be a bit of a odd understanding if the understanding was, well, I'm going to kill you really fast, and you're just going to sit there and take it. But hey, it's possible. It's been a dominant, subservient kind of behavior. When you've got the alpha machine, all of the little beta machines, the little beta maxes, they've just got to toe the line, as it were.
Just kind of march to his beat, yeah. There's something to it, man.
All right, well, Innovation's doing pretty well right now, isn't he?
I just got spoiled who our next opponent is, and I'm pretty happy.
This is probably why Inno doesn't like me much anymore. You want me to do it? You want me to press that button? You want me to cause this to happen?
I do that, but I also want to torture these people. I want you to just talk about it for 20 minutes.
You want to be held responsible for this?
No, that's fine. Unleash the hounds.
We could. Right now, we're just having a couple of BattleNet issues for Innovation. I just want to make sure we can get into the lobby. It's currently having problems with that.
That would be an issue.
Yeah, that'll be kind of annoying, wouldn't it? It's like, hey, we've got this amazing matchup set up, and yeah, BattleNet's broken. So we're not going to get anywhere. Go on. Give it a shot. Almost in there. Oh, yeah, it looks like we're remaking the lobby. It's busted. Okay. Anyway, in the meantime, I don't think anyone wants to fight Innovation in TBT anymore. Not after watching that. That's just silly. One of the ways that I describe it. Like, it reminds me of what he was doing at the start of Heart of the Swarm, where he had Hellbat figured out just more than anybody else did. And now we're seeing kind of that again, but this time with Cyclone and Vikings.
It was good. I mean, it kind of reminded me of that time where there's just that strong belief that foreigners could not compete with Koreans at all. And Innovation was one of the guys that made that look like it. And at the time, it absolutely was true. But MarineLord, like we were talking about, it's now MarineLord that's down to only being 2-1 against Innovation. So obviously he can compete with them, just not in that game. That was a very one-sided affair.
It was. Maybe we can just say that that's a matchup that's not really been figured out yet.
Yeah. It's in flux. The meta change has made it a bit interesting.
So here's an interesting reason to go to a break. Innovation's warming pack exploded, and he needs to clean his keyboard.
Oh, classic. I hate it when that happens, you know? His warming
pack. Yeah. I mean, I can verify that those are real. They exist, and if you want to be the most popular person at a LAN, assuming that MLG still existed in that form, you brought a box of warming packs.
Yeah.
That was the way to do it. We brought some to an MLG one time. I think it was MLG... where was it? MLG Rally, I think. And very, very loved by the Koreans. Let me put it that way.
Youth of the world now. In my day, John, when we got cold, you know what we did? We sliced open a tauntaun and crawled inside of it. I don't know. Warming packs. Yeah. Weakness.
It's the cleanup and the overall smell. It's just impractical these days.
It is atrocious.
We have better technological solutions that don't involve slaughter.
Okay, fair enough.
We're going to go to a break while the warming pack is cleaned up. The warming pack.
Yeah, warming pack.
The warming pack.
With his tissues.
The warming pack. We'll be right back. I'm not going to tell you what this match is. I'm going to be petulant about it. We've got to wait. We have to wait.
You're going to keep them in the dark on this one, TotalBiscuit?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. You guys are going to love it. It'll be great.
We'll be right back after the break, folks. Once this is all sorted, this next match is going to be quite the thing. Well, I won't want to keep you waiting because these guys are ready to rock and roll. This is going to be a hell of a match. That I can guarantee. They're ready to go. We're ready to go. You are no longer kept in the dark. Should have saved that one for the Halloween show, but hey.
Yeah.
One of the best Zerg, if not the best Zerg in the world. The runner-up at BlizzCon 2016. A literal god of Zerg taking on the Machine, the man who is absolutely crushing this tournament right now. This is going to be really fun to watch.
It's dark.
It is.
Okay.
The lighting level is fairly reasonable here, I find.
That's true.
It's all good. But this guy is just an absolute monster. He's been creeping up over the course of the last year. Like, he's always been really, really good. But 2016 has been the year when everybody was forced to recognize just how damn good this guy was. Season 1 SSL champion, if I recall correctly. God damn hope I'm right on that. To the southwest position, in the stylish purple, playing Zerg, it's Dark. Versus his opponent, the current King of the Hill, to the northeast position in the red trunks, playing Terran, Innovation.
And it almost goes without saying, but I guess you have to say it. If you guys haven't seen Dark versus Beyond.
Oh, God.
What map was that again? It was King Siege on Station.
Literally all of them, but yeah. There was that one. There was that one that rose above the rest that was just
King Siege on Station. That's the one for sure. Just Google it. Do what you can to get your hand. I think the replays were released. If it wasn't the replays, maybe just a VOD, but that is one of the absolute most exciting and cool TBZs I've ever seen. And on the biggest stage, like, the winner of that game came away with $200,000. Loser gets a cool, what was it, 100?
Something along those lines, yeah. A good amount of money, let me put it that way. Enough to be happy with, certainly.
Yeah.
What a series. I mean, what an event. What an amazing way to close out the official season for 2016. Like, it couldn't have been any better. You couldn't have scripted a better ending. Trust me, I watch wrestling. You definitely can't script a better ending. They don't know what the hell they're doing. One way or the other, though, there's been an interesting back and forth between Dark and Innovation over the last couple of years. They've met a number of times, and they're pretty even, honestly. Their most recent meeting was, in fact, 3 days ago. Live Fan Cup 158, Innovation 2-0 Dark.
Okay.
And then a couple of weeks before that, Live Fan Cup, Dark 2-1 Innovation. Very even. Very interesting. I'm intrigued to see where this goes.
You said 2 weeks ago?
It was, yeah. 2 weeks ago, Dark went 2-1 against Innovation. But then 3 days ago, Innovation 2-0 Dark.
So we can't even make the excuse about, like, Hydras being overpowered or something like that, because even 3 days ago,
No.
Dark still had Hydras. Potentially. Hydra Viper was something that people were complaining a little bit about, but interesting.
Yeah,
They're trading blows back and forth.
Yeah, very much so. You know, they've met about 5 or 6 times and across a couple of years, and they've been very, very even. So I couldn't call this either way. You know, Dark's obviously shown that his mastery of ZVT is second to none, but this is Innovation, who eats Zerg for breakfast, so it's hard to call this. All I know is it should be a damn good match, but I have to say that I have cursed far too many matches by saying that, so I should probably just shut up now.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we all have.
Neeb versus Dark, ladies and gentlemen, over in
funny.
17 minutes.
Oh my god.
God.
Yeah, but nobody faults you. Like, what are you gonna do? Go into it and be like, this could be great, or it could be terrible. We don't
This
know.
could be an absolute blowout. Why are you even in this place? There's Hearthstone going on right now, don't you understand?
The golf of esports, check it out.
The golf of esports.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Is it not?
I mean, golf requires, I would say, more skill and certainly more physical ability.
Yeah.
A little bit less random. You know, maybe a bird intercepts your ball or whatever, but
Yeah.
what would it be comparable to? Snakes and ladders, the esport, or shoots and ladders is what you call it, right?
Oh my god.
There you go. That'll work.
You just came up with a $10 million idea. Let us do it.
It's already
Oh,
a
it's not
mobile
yet.
game. I guarantee it. Microtransactions. You can buy better snakes.
Yeah. You could have seasonal snakes.
Yep.
You could have, team-based snakes. Imagine an EG snake, something like that.
Shiny snakes with like animations on them. More animated snakes.
You could have
ethnic snakes.
trouser
Diversities.
snake.
Very important. Sounds great. I think we've come up with a great business model.
Right.
Now, what's going on right now is a bit odd. So we've got the 16 Marine drop from Innovation. We have a very, very large army coming out of Dark, and that's not out of the ordinary for him at all. A lot of roaches, but Inno's now bringing in more Marines to try and threaten that third base. I don't think Inno knows. No, he doesn't know about the amount of roaches, but I mean, he's also got to watch Dark play a lot, so he knows Dark's tendencies.
Roach speed, range upgrade. I was a little bit weirded out by how Innovation had just sat there for a while.
Yeah.
The 16 Marine 2 medevac opening is very tight. Like it's just Zergs have faced this a dozen times, so there's a slight variation here. We have a third medevac and a few more Marines. But behind that, it's always the same thing. Like it's going to be this third. It's usually 2 eBay. I think it's actually just now adding the second one. Wait.
It's going right up to Armory very, very quickly. Wait.
Off of 1 eBay, I think, right?
Yeah. That's unusual.
I think it's been a mistake, but it's fine. Not a super big deal.
Tunneling Claws on the way here. Dark playing very heavy roach style. We've seen him play a lot of Ling Baneling, certainly against Beyond, some epic series there, but he's got some powerful roach play too. I mean, he can do pretty much anything. He's very, very good at it. But yeah, it was a bit weird to see Innovation kind of hang around like that. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe he just assumed there would be a big army there, but why not go check? Why not go and have a look? What did he smell that we didn't? I don't know.
Well, the whole point of the medevacs is that no matter what you see there, you can get out.
You can get out, yeah.
Lose track of him and the Queens shoot him or something like that, but he's going to go up a lot of Marines. This is the defensive play you come to expect from Dark, where all the drops are being met by little pockets of units.
Yep, always, always.
Can't do anything there. But what is Dark's follow-up? Now, that kind of nice thing about this, it used to be that the kind of the criticism was, all right, yeah, go roaches, but if you don't do damage, there's no follow-up. Well, that's where the Ravager comes in.
Yeah.
Ravager gives you that middle game unit that actually has utility into the late game. But I would almost say, now with Hydras the way they are too, there is the potential just to go into Hydra. So all of a sudden, those range attack upgrades gels nicely with Hive Tech, where you can have Vipers, and if you are facing mech, or even if you're not, if you're facing like Sky Terran, you have answers.
Yeah, thank God that they changed that range upgrade, so it's no longer 7. That was crazy. They thankfully did get rid of that just before the patch, which might be why we're not seeing as many Hydras as we thought we would. When we look at the balance patch, everyone was like, Hydra, Hydra, Hydra. But I think as a result of that, maybe they've been less keen on it. They're still a little bit better, I'm pretty sure, but they're nowhere near as good as they were. I'm a bit concerned about the sheer number of tunneling roaches and what Innovation has, which is just a hell of a lot of Marines. And if it... Oh! He takes a hit from Corrosive Bile there. He does have some tanks. Where are the rest of the... This isn't the entire roach army, is it? Well, I don't even think it matters at this point. There's enough to smash through the third.
This is a maxed out Zerg. He was maxed out at 7.5 minutes.
How did he, I mean, he already has his 4th base. It's barely even up and running. But I mean, he just murdered Innovation's economy.
It's not just his economy that he murdered, TotalBiscuit.
Most of his army gone as well. What the hell just happened? Dark just
took his wife. He took his kids. He took his aunt.
8 minutes. At 8-minute max, we see weird shades of the Ghost of Stefano past, I think, in that, but just way, way better. And Innovation sort of unceremoniously knocked out of the event by a Dark that didn't even look phased by anything.
No, that's so funny. It's like, that is the kind of game where I think a person that doesn't watch a lot of StarCraft would watch that and be like, well, that was stupid, because it just looked like the Zerg made a bunch of roaches, and it was up 100 supply, and then just attack moved in 1.
Because
he actually did kind of do that, but he did it off the back of immaculate defense, Innovation kind of stunting his own timing attack. He didn't go with the 2 medevacs. He waited for a third, and then with the third, didn't do anything with it, like barely a creep tumor maybe.
Do you think that even if he'd gone with the 2 medevacs with the timing, it would have done anything?
No, it's not that it would have done anything. It would have given him more information on what he's facing. He would have seen the Ravagers and Roaches and been like, okay, I need to adjust. Maybe a second factory, you know, something other than just making more Marines and having 2 tanks.
Yeah, it was a bit odd there from Inno, honestly. But that is the most insane macro I've seen from a Zerg in ages. And I guess it helps when the Terran's basically doing almost nothing to you. There's a little poke and prod. That
the other
timing
reason
attack didn't
that
hit.
Doesn't work usually is because the Terran will be like, all right, your Roach Ravager, I'm going to have 5 medevacs of units waiting outside of your base. Because it was like 5 Roaches in the main and a Queen that was deflecting all of these attacks. Well, what happens if 5 medevacs show up? Then the Roaches and Ravagers have to come home, or you're base trading a Terran, which you don't want to do.
Huh. That was weird. That was really weird. Oh well. Inno continues to be top of the board. He strings together a pretty solid 4-win streak, but he loses to the runner-up of BlizzCon, which is certainly no shame.
Oh, yeah.
The ZVT from this guy's just phenomenal.
Put together a nice series, handily defeated a couple of really good players. I mean, he loses to Dark, the best Zerg on planet Earth. It's like, it's all right.
Not too bad. We're not done, though. We've got plenty more great players to show you. And I'm intrigued to see how this next matchup goes. We're just waiting for our player to show themselves. But it's been a really good event so far. Really great event. A lot of awesome matches. Okay, very rare blowouts like that. Even then, you can find something to admire in it.
Yeah.
Just look at that unit count. Look at that supply count for Dark. Just gaze at it.
I hope someone maybe even goes back and checks, because we're calling it an 8-minute max. It might have been. I think it might have been like even 7 minutes and 45 seconds, but it was just like alarmingly fast. Very fast.
It's one of those situations where you don't even look at the supply tab at that point because you don't expect it to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, what the hell happened? Crazy.
Innovation at the beginning of that fight had 120 or 130 supply, was literally down 70 supply, and a good 50 of that was in army. Like, just, you don't see that. You do not see that often. I mean, you do if like Innovation tried a 2-base all-in and it failed or something, but he didn't. He just wasn't able to harass, and if you don't slow down Dark, apparently you're facing infinite hordes of Roaches.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how hard Beyond had to work at BlizzCon to harass Dark. You know, he had to play out of his mind to get anything done. Well, Dark puts one on the board. Welcome to him. I believe this is his first win in the tournament. This is the second time he's been here. He didn't do so well the first time. So let's see if he can string together some results. His next opponent is going to be difficult to overcome. Let me just put it that way. We're not done with the absolutely incredible Koreans. I wasn't kidding when I said this was the most stacked lineup ever. No real doubt about that. The numbers don't lie, ladies and gentlemen. One of the best Protoss on the planet, by far. His name is Stats.